Hello! Hi! And welcome back to our blind read-through of Saya no Uta, the Song of Saya. How you doing? Welcome back. Last time we were together, we were straight cruising for a confrontation from the looks of it. It looks like maybe against all of his best interests, our boy Koji is making a move, and he is damn determined to get to Funamori somehow, and Funamori, dude's just gone at this point. It's fine. Like, that, he's bought all the way in, and I got a feeling he's just riding this whole thing out as far as he can. There's no pulling this guy back. There's no bringing this ship back to harbor. There's no bringing this train back to station. He is just gone. So, why waste the excitement? Let's get right back into it. Get things going. The hunt is on. I'm eager. This is going to be great. Let's go. I stare at the silent phone in my hand. I hear sucking noises in my headphones. That's not alarming. There's anger, of course, but something cold and heavy holds my emotions in check. The sense of danger. To be honest, I'm surprised at how calm I am. I am too! Given the sounds that we're hearing right now. Okay. Yo looks up at me apprehensively, her head between my thighs. She was attending to my manhood throughout the call. Perhaps mistaking my silence as for annoyance, she desperately rubs her breasts against my shaft and attacks the head of my penis with her tongue. The remaining fragments of her memory seem to have joined together as she has regained some degree of speech. Upon realizing this last night, Saya began to teach her language once more. I assume she finds our pet's efforts amusing. Don't be mad. Yo will try harder. Still gazing up at me pleadingly, Yo sucks my penis without even taking the time to breathe. Her ministrations threaten to fill my head with the white fog of pleasure that will impede my thoughts, and besides, my arousal has already vanished. At first, I consider making her stop. When I gaze into her puppy dog eyes, however, I begin to think differently. Thanks to Saya, I have a family once again. For the first time, I am becoming aware of the responsibility that places on me. I am now the head of a new Sakisaka household, as well as its only male member. It is my duty to protect, comfort, and ensure the happiness of the women living under my roof. With that in mind, I know that I mustn't fear confusion. That would only cause them distress. Continue. Yes, master. I entrust my manhood to Yo's right breasts, basking in the pleasure with one part of my mind, while contemplating our current predicament with the other. It is clear that I made a grave error when I failed to finish Koji off 2 days ago. Right now, I need to set my frustration. I need to set my frustration and anger aside and deal with this problem logically. Isn't this kind of like a scene in what was the name of that hacker movie? Swordfish? John Travolta, I think. It's the one where Halle Berry showed her tits. I think that's it. It's time to leave. I have no way of knowing when Koji escaped from the well, or how much he's learned, or how many people he has had contact with since then. Now that it is impossible to know how far the problem is spread, merely disposing of Koji won't guarantee our safety. When the enemy has poisoned your water supply, you can't take the risk that even one drop might remain. Your only choice is to stop drinking the water.
Fuminori. 誰と話してたの?
Saya returns from the kitchen, where she'd gone in search of a midnight snack. She's munching on her favorite, spare ribs! This scene is gonna fucking kill me, dude. I can't with these sucking noises in the background. And now you've got Saya making excellent fucking body horror jokes. This is so good. Oh, game of the year right here, people. Oh, God, this is just a wonderful loop. Just love hearing it. Sounds great. Listen to this with headphones, everybody. Trust me. Purging myself of unease and impatience, I respond with a casual shrug.
ちょっと厄介なことになりそうだ。工事のやつが生きててさ。
あらま。
By breaking the news suddenly and without any trace of anxiety, I am able to avoid frightening Saya. Instead, she is merely surprised. I knew that remaining calm would work. Moreover, I'm currently getting my penis sucked by Yo. It would be hard for anyone to get too serious under these circumstances. Yeah, it's hard for me to keep a straight face, and I'm just hearing the sounds.
なあさや、僕たちこの家を引き払った方がいいかもな。
そうか。
Saya lowers her eyes and strokes her chin thoughtfully.
まあ、どっちみち鈴見さんの一家が消えたのがバレれば、この近辺も騒がしくなってただろうし。遅かれ早くれ、こういう日は来てたと思うよ。
The putrid stench coming from your house, the ridiculous overgrowth. Yeah, it's like time is running short for your ability to remain here. Yeah, Saya nods. I can tell that she's reluctant to leave, but at least there's no sadness in her expression. Everything will be fine. I will protect my life with Saya just as I have up until now. I have that power. Knowing that we've overcome one problem fills me with confidence.
そんなことよりさや、もうそろそろ。
Oh, okay, it's time. You may have been eating spare ribs, but, well, I believe he's gonna offer you some sauce.
ダメダメ。
Saya hastily discards her spare ribs and pushes the still sucking Yo off of me.
もう、Fuminoriったら、ヨウのおっぱいだと、さやの
I knew it!
硬くなる。
I knew this was gonna happen! I knew you were about to create a situation where jealousy would thrive, and it was going to be because you got way bigger of a hard-on for big titties and a juicy ass than you do a washboard. I knew it! I knew this was coming.
いや、それは。
How do you... yeah, come on. I want to see you wiggle your way out of this one, Fuminori.
ごちそうさま。
Was it now? Well, you know, it's okay. You know, you're kind of just catching the end of the meal, I suppose. But I guess you still, you know, got the main event. The main course.
欲張りだよな、さやは。
You're so greedy, Saya, I say, smiling wryly as I look at Yo, who's lying limply on the floor.
絶対に独り占めなんだな、それ。
当然でしょ。他の女にあげたりしたら承知しないんだから。
After baring her teeth at me grumpily, she burrows her face into my stomach. Dear phone, please stop making sounds.
本当に嫌だよ。
It's adorable how Saya goes from angry to pleading like this. I find myself reaching down to muss up her hair.
大丈夫。安心していいよ。さあ、じゃあ急いで支度しよう。
We can travel light and take the Suzumi family car. I'd better withdraw everything that's left in my bank account and carry it as cash. I'll also need a weapon, something more reliable than a butcher's knife. Koji will most likely follow. He thinks that Yo can still be saved. However, I'm not abandoning this house just to run away. As long as Koji knows our location, we're stuck on the defensive. Leaving gives me the chance to regain the initiative and deal with him at a place of my choosing. The next time we meet, I'll kill him with my own bare hands. I'll make sure to wring every last drop of life out of his body. A shiver runs through me as I anticipate the battle ahead, and my bloodlust burns like orgasmic fire. You probably should see a doctor if it feels like orgasmic fire. You know, just saying. When Ryoko looks up, the morning sun is already streaming in the window. Tired from hours of poring over files, she removes her glasses and massages her aching eyes. Her dreams are always filled with horror, yet the night she just spent was more nightmarish than them all, and it's not over yet. She has only just set foot on the threshold. As expected, the flies left by the Ogai Masahiko were not the sort that Ryoko could simply pick up and read. The files, by the way. Fortunately, Ogai has been too old-fashioned to put trust in electronic media. If he'd encrypted his files on a computer, she'd have had to find a hacker and decipher them. Well, lucky for them, I know some Nitro Plus hackers from other games, but it would be you'd have to wait about 6 years for Super Haka to make an appearance. In fact, he had not employed any kind of code in his writing. That would have been too time-consuming by hand. The method of obfuscation he did use was quite simple. Of the files Ryoko pulled from his underground lab, a majority turned out to be notes in these from Ogai's days as a student. The important papers were the diaries and research notes that had been scattered throughout the piles of worthless scrap. At first, she was unable to understand the documents that she had found. Each sheet was covered with text on one side and blank on the other. Each line was completely unrelated to the next, making it impossible to glean any meaning from the whole. The trick revealed itself, however, when she was sorting the pages that made no sense. She found that each line continued the same line from a different page. In Ogai's diary, for example, the first day began on the first line, then continued not with the next line, but on the first line of the next page. Well, that's a pretty damn simple way of, obfuscating your fucking entries, but it's not gonna survive much scrutiny. Similarly, the second day was the second line, the third day was the third line, and so on and so forth. After filling out all the lines on one set of pages, Ogai had torn them out and scattered them among his other files. There was no regularity to how the pages were numbered, of course. Unable to locate any sort of key or legend, Ryoko had no choice but to figure out the page order manually. Boy, that would be a pain in the ass, though. Despite knowing that the task would be exhausting, Ryoko set to it valiantly. After separating all of the loose-leaf sheets from the jumbled files, she began the painstaking process of linking pages together according to the contents of their first line. She found that Ogai had dismantled and scattered his diary each time he completed a number of days equal to the lines on one page, and had done the same with his research notes every 30 pages or so. The diary was much easier to restore because the entries varied in length. Later pages had a larger number of blank lines. The page with only one line, therefore, was the last page of the diary, and those with the most blank spaces could be considered closer to the end. Ryoko's perseverance has paid off, for if she had already succeeded in restoring several volumes of Ogai's diary, as she reads them, she feels despair draining her spirit, as it has so many times before. The cursed feeling of powerlessness that comes from knowing hidden truths. Those who have tasted it once shall be beaten down by it again and again until the day they die. All secrets are connected, after all. Once you have glimpsed even the tiniest fraction of the world's true face, you have no choice but to watch in horror as the veil rolls itself back inch by inch. All that remains is to wait for the day when insanity will crush your reason under its ever-mounting weight. I have succeeded in communicating with the organism. It shows enormous curiosity, and its intelligence is beyond doubt. See research notes for confirmed voice patterns and body language. It's Its appetite for knowledge is insatiable, and its learning efficiency is off the charts. However, it exhibits absolutely no desire to be recognized as an individual. Its ego appears to be quite weak, suggesting a psyche wholly unlike that of a human. The speed of the organism's linguistic development is astounding. When I laughed at its mispronunciations, it immediately picked up the concept of puns. Well, I love this organism already! Ever since, it had been employing its entire vocabulary in an attempt to find puns that will make me laugh. Perhaps in a few days' time, it will have learned enough language for us to communicate freely. The organism's command of spoken language is now sufficient to facilitate higher-level discourse. But although it has regaled me with questions all day, it remains unable to answer any of mine. Its replies suggest that it only gained awareness after materializing in this universe. It has no knowledge of where it came from. While I am disappointed, the fact that it has reached this level of intelligence only 1 week after starting to think, after 1 week after starting to think, tells me that there is no end to what I can learn from it. Hypothesis. It is not a naturally occurring organism, but was created by an even more sophisticated sentient life form. This would explain why it has no ego, yet possesses such a hunger for knowledge. It might be some sort of reconnaissance drone that was sent here from another world. So we are going interplanetary with this? Interdimensional? Is that where we're going with this? I mean, I guess if we're gonna be, looking at it, this story being the Lovecraftian-inspired piece that it is, that makes total sense. Ryoko smiles humorlessly for the umpteenth time since she started reading. How wonderful it would be if she could laugh this diary off as the delusions of a madman or the work of a science fiction writer. Also, alas, she knows far too much. When she thinks back to the many horrors that Ogai brought into her life, the words before her take on chilling credibility. I have confirmed that the organism's brain power far surpasses any human's. This morning, I taught it about prime numbers. After I explained the Nuka-Slammer test for Mersenne primes, it immediately began to list examples that it had calculated in its head. I would only be able to confirm by memory up to the number 10, M89. But it continued to list further examples without any trouble. I left it to its calculations, and when I returned a few hours later, it discovered that it had written down more than 70 of them. Computers all over the world are currently working to calculate Mersenne primes. But the last one I remember being found was the 39th back in 2001. This game was released in 2003, so, just kind of give you an idea of where our progress may be if this is something you decide to look up. When I entered several of the results into my laptop and ran the Nuka-Slammer test on them, I found that every one was correct. The same is no doubt true of the rest. After all, the organism has never shown the pathological need to respect that would lead it. After all, the organism has never shown the pathological need for respect that would lead it to lie about its accomplishments. I see no reason to doubt its veracity. If I could reveal to the world an expedient method for discovering Mersenne primes, the prize money would make me a billionaire. Of course, my current research is far more than any sum of money. I must keep it a secret. We're gonna use a cosmic horror being as our little math puppet and become a billionaire. That's a great idea. The organism's computational speed exceeds that of even the most powerful supercomputers. I can only conclude that its cognitive facilities are beyond anything humanity can imagine. At the organism's request, we have begun a new field of study. Despite its immeasurable aptitude for mathematics, it now desires to concentrate on sociology and the natural sciences. Perhaps our math problems are simply too elementary for it. It has shown especially keen interest in the means by which organisms reproduce and multiply. Aha! Aha! As it possesses nothing that can be called emotion, I hesitate to use this description, but when it learned about DNA, it seemed somehow excited. In fact, the organism itself seemed surprised by its reaction. When asked about the nature of this impulse, the organism decided to label it instinct. If this description is indeed accurate, then this is an extremely interesting development. It would mean that there is a deeper level to its psyche than just the knowledge it has acquired since coming to this world. If I can use this discovery to trace its roots, I might be able to learn what it truly is. Note, candidates for the plane in the world of an organism's origin are discussed in On the Silver Key, filed separately. I spent the whole day carrying books up to its room. Apparently, the organism is no longer satisfied by the knowledge I am able to impart. It should come as no surprise considering its linguistic prowess, but the speed at which it consumes text is astounding. The diary continues for some time, chronicling the intimate relationship between Ogai and it. In the back of her mind, Ryoko imagines the old doctor climbing down a well in the middle of the night to hold congress with some inhuman creature in that bizarre laboratory. The image is disturbingly similar to the nightmares that have shattered the silence of many nights with her screams. What follows, however, makes even her worst nightmares pale in comparison. The organism has made a very strange request. This is the first time it has asked for anything other than food or eating materials. I can hardly believe it, but it wants to consume the sperm of living creatures. That is separate from its desire for food. Once again, it's describing the impulse as instinctive. Now that it has declared itself a life form that requires the seed of males, it has begun to identify itself as female. After today, I suppose I shall have to start calling the organism a she. You know what, Dr. Ogai, you're pretty cool. You respect pronouns, and I dig that. What a guy. He can't be all that bad. Well, I take that back. Lots of people that observe pronouns have been outed as maybe being kind of bad. Regardless, Dr. Ogai, good on you for respecting a cosmic horror's pronouns. We respect that here. Is the personality that she has begun to exhibit really just an imitation created for her amusement? Ever since she started to immerse herself in our literature, she has been acting astonishingly human. She identifies herself as female and already possesses an enormous store of cultural knowledge. Is she trying to create a human identity for herself based on these? I've seen her laugh, grow angry, and today she cried. Is she just copying our emotional displays? If not, then she is already... Is the soul something that any intelligent life form can acquire? I feel that I am witnessing something more mysterious than the genesis of life itself. Today is her birthday. Although it is a year late, I want to give her a special gift. Saya was the name of my mother's cat. In childhood, she was my sole friend and my beloved. I decided long ago that if I were ever blessed with children, I would give this name to my daughter. Happy birthday, Saya. Let this be the name of your soul. You have earned it. The ability that Saya has discovered in herself is showing more extraordinary results each day. I have no doubt that she is a kind of artist. What exactly is it that she created in her body from the rat semen I gave her? At this point, I can only surmise that it's a type of retrovirus, a reverse transcriptase enzyme that creates exactly what she desires. The rats that have been transformed by her are... The rats that have been transformed by her art are so very beautiful now. The many enzymes secreted by her body and the various appendages she uses are discussed in detail in my biological observations, filed separately. Here, I will say this. By witnessing Saya perform her operations on several rats, I have gained much confidence in my theory that her body is designed specifically to manipulate the biology of other organisms. Ryoko looks grimly at the still unsorted mountain of research notes. When she finally manages to separate those papers, she will probably find many other files mentioned in the diary. Ogai's biological observations, at the very least, she wants to look through those before facing the thing called Saya. Under no circumstances does she want to go into battle unprepared. She looks at her watch and sees that it's already 7 in the morning. Assuming Tonokoji made no stops, he should be arriving in Tokyo right about now. Now that it's too late, she wishes she'd stopped the stubborn fool from leaving, even if she'd had to shoot him in the leg to do it. All right, I'm actually going to go ahead and stop here. I know that this is a little shorter than we usually go for these, but I actually have to go take care of some stuff, and it's a little urgent. So we're going to have to go ahead and stop here, but we've got a lot of really, really good stuff like starting to come out about Saya, what the nature is of her entire being. Like, we don't know how she got here, but we do know that, yep, she is indeed some kind of cosmic horror alien sent here to gather information, and my guess is to kind of, like, propagate somehow. Like, clearly she's storing up all of this baby batter for for some reason or other, so, yeah, I imagine, like, that's gonna start falling out soon. We have to wonder, just like, okay, like, we know that she and Fuminori have been doing it literally like every night since they first met, almost, so, or at least since they moved in together, so she's probably got enough there to start creating some doubles sooner or later. But we'll have to wait and find out when we are here next time together. So thanks so much for coming out, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye!